We are streaming over on YouTube. We got about 10 minutes left here in the show before we get to the afters, where we will be answering your questions. So jump in the chat, fire away. Our producer, Dagan Hughes, will be storing them and saving them up. Terrence Oglesby, Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster here. So we got the odds now. UConn, plus 110 to win the national title. FAU, plus 680 to win the national title. San Diego State, plus 900 to win the national title. And Miami is currently sitting at plus 1,200 to win the national title. T.O., I'm going to go to you first on this one.
How do you beat UConn?
How do you beat UConn? And who is the most likely team to be able to do it?
It's going to be really hard, guys, because they're so big, long, and physical on the defensive end. But in games where teams have shot better than 52% from two, UConn is 2-6. So if you're able to get into the lane and you're able to score at a high rate, you're going to be in good shape. Also, get to the free throw line if you can. Not optimistic that teams can do that in this NCAA tournament because they're not calling a ton of fouls.
Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can get a little extra sweat during March Madness and win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In pick'em, all you do is predict whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether that's points, rebounds, whatever. For example, if you're like me and you think Zach Edey is going to go nuts in this tournament, pick higher on his points projection, add up to 4 more picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, F-I-E-L-D, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Now is the time to get in on the madness. So remember, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code FIELD.
He turned the mic off. Am I back?
You're back.
You turned the mic off.
Well, maybe I felt like people didn't want to hear me talk just now.
No one wants to hear you talk, ever. All right, getting it back on the rails. Go ahead, make your point.
No, I was just saying, listen, UConn has had a stretch where they lost 6 of 8 earlier this year. So there's a recipe to beat them. It's not like they have it. This isn't a team that came in like some dominant team, right, over the course of the year. They were really good early, really good late, but they went through a stretch that they could be beaten. I get Andre Jackson's a different player now than he was. But if they're not making shots, if Jordan Hawkins is kind of doing his disappearing act, which he's done at times, he tends to glide, especially in the first half. You know, Sanogo, you can even give him his. I'll even say that. You could even give Sanogo his 25 and 15. But if you limit Hawkins and keep Hawkins to single digits.
Sure.
Jackson's not, you sag off Jackson, and you know what? Maybe he decides he's going to try to shoot it from the perimeter and not make shots. Calcaterra doesn't make shots. Aline, they've done that. They've had games like that. Play them close, and who knows with Miami. I mean, shit, this is a team that they've got guys that can get in there. Klingon, to me, is still the one that, like, is the X factor for me, because if Sanogo's not playing well, Klingon comes in, those guards are going to have trouble getting to the rim.
Yeah, to me, the X factor is Hawkins. And the reason I say that is because if you look at their entire team, like Tristan Newt, you know what he is. Andre Jackson, you know what he is. Sanogo, you know what he is. The guy that can turn them from a very good team into a national championship great team.
And he can do it like this.
Yes. And he can hit 3 in a row, turn a game on its head.
He's the only one who can do that.
Yeah. So, and I'm not sure that I think it's by design that he's slow out of the gates. I'm telling you, I really think it is.
Why would you want a guy like that who could honestly dominate? He could dominate. I would want him going right out of the gate.
That's not what it is.
I play better when I let the game come to him.
They run their stuff, and what they're trying to do at the start is establish Adama Sanogo. They're trying to get the ball to him and get him going so that you have to pay attention to him. And then all of a sudden, once you decide, all right, we got to double when he gets touches, then he kicks it out, swing, boom, you got to open 3. The other part of it is so much of what Jordan Hawkins does when he's the biggest threat is in transition. The biggest threat is in transition. And they get out and run a lot more in the second half than they do in the first half because they're able to adjust to what you're doing offensively, get some more tweaks, they get some more stops, and boom, all of a sudden it's rebound, kick out, hit ahead. It's Andre Jackson gets the rebound and runs, and boom, you got someone on the way. One thing I want to push back on is the idea that you just let Adama Sanogo get his 25. The reason why I say you can't do that is because if he's getting his touches in the post, it means their offense is working. It means they're able to run their stuff, create the angles, get the dump downs, and he's able
The
to
only
turn
thing I'll
and
say
score
is
it.
I'd rather give up 2s than 3s.
Well, no, you're right. But if you can get out and pressure on the perimeter and you don't let them get into their stuff, then he never gets his touches. So that to me is the key. Like if he's able to get like 12 post-ups and he scores on 8 of them, like that is a bad thing for whoever they're playing. But if you get out of pressure,
I think you're going to stay in the
'cause
game.
if you look at the Marquette game. Sanogo was not great against Marquette because they weren't able to get him touches in the post where he needed it. What they were able to do was get out and pressure you. They missed some shots. And again, I'll go back to this. It ends up, to me, I think the thing that you said was whether or not they're making their jumpers and making their threes. They shoot a lot of threes. And when they're going down, you can't beat them.
Does
If
it
they're
matter?
going to go 10 for 22 from 3.
Does it matter? Does it matter that the game's on April Fool's Day?
It's my birthday.
It's your birthday, April
my
Fool's
birthday.
Day? It's awesome. No, the only fluke I could see, like Miami doesn't traditionally guard all that well. Like I'm sitting here looking at their KenPom numbers, 104th. Are they going to be able to guard UConn? I just don't know. I just don't know.
Can
Omier stay in the game?
It's going to, well, one is Omier staying in the game, and two, it's going to be, who do you have, if you're Miami, who do you put on Andre Jackson, and who do you put on Alex Caravan? You probably have Jordan Miller on Alex Caravan, right? I think you have to.
I think you put Jordan Miller on Andre Jackson because he's a better help defender than the
Who
other
you put
guys
on
on the
Caravan?
perimeter.
Then what they're going to do is
Well,
they're going to run offense.
Poplar, I'm putting on Caravan.
And then they're going to run offense to get him a post touch because he can score in a post.
Okay. Who's going to beat me? Caravan? Out of all those options, I'm picking Caravan. If somebody's going to beat me, it's going to be Caravan.
Right. Agreed.
I mean,
100%.
Like you're right. He can score, but like look at that roster. Who are you going to pick to beat you? If I'm picking somebody out of that starting 5, it's Caravan. I'm not saying it can happen. I'm saying like if I were a coach looking in, I'd be like, oh shit, I got my hands full.
And I'm praying that Newton's not hitting his
Make
threes.
Caravan go for 30.
You know what'll happen then? He misses a couple jumpers and then all of a sudden Sanogo has 18 offensive rebounds.
Yep, that's right.
No, I do think that
I think Omier.
Right. He can
I think
stand
Omier
up
can
to
compete with
Sanogo.
Sanogo.
I do too.
You're showing your fandom a
the
little
problem
bit.
is
Showing
when
your fandom.
Sanogo
Here.
when Sanogo goes out of the
you're
game.
right. I just like when you
They have an
pause
answer
them
for
up.
hey.
Yeah,
they're
have an answer
heavy
for
favorite.
everything.
They're
I don't-
heavy
For a
favorites
reason.
for a reason.
Right, exactly.
They do have an answer.
Yep.
Our question was, what do we choose to go at
Yeah.
if we're an opposing coach? I'm choosing that Jordan Miller's going to be Jordan Miller's going to be on
the help defender.
He's going to be the help defender. He's going to be that guy in front of the runway because he's a better help defender than probably the rest of their guys because he's so smart.
In front of the runway.
And I think you got to switch it up. If you're Larinaga, you better switch it up. And again, Sanogo is almost like comfortable
Like
the
some
other night,
1-3-1 or something.
right? I mean, he gets the ball and he was passing it like I've never seen him pass it before.
Yeah.
He's never passed it like that.
I know.
He's
figuring
never
it
passed
out.
it
Crazy.
like that before.
So he's going to have confidence going into this game like he's probably never had. And maybe the game slowed down a little bit for him. You could see that.